A new Wordle puzzle is online. Click on the link to play.
Listening to the following video may give you clues. Please like and share the videos.
Everton vs Crystal Palace late Premier League updates after the match. Everton vs Crystal Palace late Premier League latest updates after the match. A 3-2 victory for the Toffees and a 2-2 draw for the Eagles are the two main talking points in this match.
Both teams are currently in the relegation zone, but a win or draw could see both sides move up to the top half. A defeat for Everton would be devastating as they have two players sent off.
If they don't win, they'll have a tough time climbing out of the relegation zone. Everton come from behind to beat Crystal Palace.
Everton have secured their Premier League survival after coming from 2 goals down to beat Crystal Palace 3-2 in the penultimate game of the season. The win means that the Toffees will be guaranteed at least a place in the top 4 next season, which they need if they are to avoid dropping out of the league.
Crystal Palace were looking like they would be fighting until the end of the season, but they came back with goals from Michael Keane, Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin to ensure Everton will stay up in the top tier for another 69 years. The Toffees are without Andros Townsend, Nathan Patterson, Michael Oliva and Fabian Delph.
Meanwhile, Salomon Rondon is suspended and James Tomkins and Nathan Ferguson are out. Everton are also without James McCarthy and Andros Townsend, who are both out through injury.
Crystal Palace are also without Michael Olise, who is suspended for the rest of the season, and James Tomkins. Vieira praised Jake Daniels for his courage in coming out as gay and praised the performance of his side.
Everton have won 2 of their last 4 matches against Crystal Palace, with both matches being played at Selhurst Park. The Palace manager also praised the attitude of the Palace fans and the way the team played against Aston Villa.
However, Crystal Palace will be aiming to complete a double over Everton, after beating them twice in this season in the Premier League and the FA Cup. This is a rare feat as Crystal Palace have only beaten 3 teams in one campaign, twice in the same season.
Richarlison scores twice. The Brazilian forward scored 2 goals as Everton defeated Crystal Palace 3-1 in the weekend's match.
Everton moved into 7th place in the Premier League table after the win. The game was a thriller as the Toffees dominated possession and created many chances to score.
But the visitors could not capitalize on their chances as the Eagles managed to score 3 times in 4 home games against the Toffees. Richarlison scored twice in the first half as Everton came from behind to secure a 3-2 victory.
The Toffees had fallen behind 2 goals at halftime through Jordan Ayew and Jean-Philippe Mateta. Everton came back strongly and scored goals from Michael Keane and Richarlison, who both scored in the second half.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin completed the comeback with a diving header. Richarlison is one of Everton's best players.
He scored twice in the first half against Crystal Palace and will probably start again against Crystal Palace on Saturday. But it's not all positive for Richarlison.
The forward has only scored 8 goals in the Premier League this season and will need to be fit to start against Aston Villa. Branthwaite and Rondon sent off.
After the red card controversy on Sunday, Everton are now in the hunt for 3 points against Crystal Palace. After losing to Brentford, Everton have 2 players sent off, Salomon Rondon and Jarrad Branthwaite.
The situation at Goodison Park is blowing my mind, according to ESPN journalist Alex Shaw. Everton's next 2 fixtures are against Crystal Palace and Arsenal, with both sides looking to finish in the top half.
The Toffees looked on top at the start of the game, with barely a threat from inside their own half. But things started to change after 18 minutes, when Michael Oliver failed to award a penalty to Odger.
Then, Branthwaite was sent off for a professional foul on Ivan Toney. After the penalty, Everton dominated and turned the game on its head.
The 2 players who were sent off for fouls were Doucouré and Branthwaite, who had just 4 minutes on the pitch. Everton have 9 men after Rondon's dismissal.
This result has forced the club to play with 9 men, leaving Everton just 2 points above the relegation zone. But the game is far from over for the Toffees, who now face a tough test against Arsenal on the final day of the season.
Richarlison tops scoring chart. Richarlison is on fire after his 9th goal in all competitions and he's only 2 goals behind the next highest scorer.
The Brazilian is expected to play an important role in Everton's battle for survival, and his goal could prove pivotal in the race to stay up. However, he's already drawn criticism for throwing a flare into a packed stand during a Premier League game.
Everton make one change to their starting lineup after the defeat to Brentford. Michael Keane returns from injury to replace Jared Branthwaite in midfield.
Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin start up front, while Anthony Gordon starts on the right. Ben Godfrey, Demarai Gray and Delali all start on the bench.
After the first half ended goalless, both sides had chances to score. A long free kick by Christian Eriksen was diverted into his own net by Christian Wissa.
And then, a professional foul on Richarlison by Jared Branthwaite gave the Eagles a boost. But Richarlison's penalty, just 10 minutes after a Brentford own goal, turned the game on its head.
Despite this, Everton stayed in the Premier League and remained in the league. Everton's defensive performance against Brentford.
There were many worrying signs in the second half, and the first was the lackluster defensive performance of Everton against Brentford. The visitors began the game with an attacking mindset, but, in the final third, Everton were unable to create enough chances to win the match.
Despite being a well-drilled and organized unit, they were lacking in quality and energy. Everton's defensive display was shaky and they were left chasing shadows throughout the game.
The visitors came into the match desperate for a goal, and it was not long before the 0-0 scoreline was reached. Everton started brightly and played expansive football, and eventually took the lead through Dominic Calvert-Lewin's header in the 6th minute.
But after conceding 2 goals in 2 of their last 3 matches, Everton's defensive performance was a real blow. They've scored 2 goals in their last 3 games, 1 in 5 and none in their previous 10, and the goal against Brentford came through Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
While Everton had to rely on their defence to win the game, the attacking performance was also vital. Everton's attacking performance against Brentford was a stepping stone to the top flight, and a strong defensive performance would guarantee a good place in the Premier League.
It's a shame the game ended as a 2-2 draw, but it's a good sign for the future of Everton. Guéhi's absence from Ligue 1's match with Paris Saint-Germain.
The reason for Idrissa Guéhi's absence from Saturday's game with Paris Saint-Germain was not immediately clear. The player has been absent from matches since May last season, when he wore a rainbow kit.
Although the club says Guéhi was absent for private reasons, many media outlets suggested that he may have been deliberately prevented from playing. The player's entourage did not comment on the matter.
The LFP has organized workshops to raise awareness of homophobia in football clubs and training centers. They also sell jerseys to raise money for LGBT associations.
Gay marriage and homosexuality are illegal in Senegal, where Guéhi is from. The punishment for homosexuality is 5 years in prison.
In Senegal, the LGBTQ community faces severe restrictions, including the ban on public displays. Last February, ultra-conservative Muslim groups protested in Dakar against the LGBTQ community, demanding stricter punishments for homosexuality.
In France, police recorded 3,790 attacks for sexual orientation. During the International Day Against Homophobia on the 17th of May, professional football clubs are encouraged to wear rainbow-themed number kits on their team shirts.
Last year, Guéhi had also refused to wear the rainbow flag kit, a gesture that is particularly poignant because he is a devout Muslim. However, RMC Sport claimed that Guéhi's absence was related to the color of his shirt.
Crystal Palace's chances of survival if they beat Everton. If Crystal Palace beat Everton on Thursday, the Toffees will be within touching distance of survival in the Premier League.
Everton are currently just 2 points off the relegation zone and must win against Crystal Palace to stay up. Everton could mathematically escape relegation with a win, but lost 0-0 to Brentford last weekend after having 2 players sent off.
Despite this, Everton have a game in hand on Leeds United, who currently sit 4th in the table. The Toffees have only lost one of their last 14 Premier League games, but their recent record against Palace is not particularly encouraging.
Everton conceded 59 goals in the league this season, while Crystal Palace have only won 2 away games against them in that period. Everton lost to Brentford last Sunday, when they were boosted by 2 major referee decisions.
They were also relegated from the Championship 2 seasons ago, so this is a crucial game for them. If Crystal Palace win tomorrow's game, they will end the season with a record points total and a chance to finish in the top half of the table.
In the 38-game Premier League, Palace have only finished in the top half once. If they can manage to do that, it would be a massive achievement for Patrick Vieira.